just so you know. No, I'm kidding. I don't know that. Although I suppose I could look ahead of the speech. Anyway, welcome. I'm going to ask that you all please stand for the presentation of the colors by the St. Paul Police Color Guard and the Local 21 Color Guard.
Detail. Hut tail. Right shoulder. Forward. Mark. Detail. Hold. Center. Face. Freeze it.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Order. Center. Face. Forward.
Thank you. Please be seated. Good afternoon. I'm Kathy Lantry, and I'm president of the St. Paul City Council, and I am joined by most of my colleagues on the City Council as well. And as we're all recovering from another year of endless days of sub-zero temperatures, I have the annual pleasure of reflecting over the year and introducing Mayor Chris Coleman's State of our City. The City Council has spent the last several years working in partnership with the mayor to create a vibrant community, a place where we have all the vital elements that attract and promote our beautiful city as a place to live, work, and visit. Arts, culture, sustainable transportation, strong neighborhoods, stronger schools, music, and restaurants. These are indicators of a healthy and attractive city. We've cultivated partnerships with community members, nonprofits, and businesses in keeping St. Paul progressing as a top-tier city. One of those key partnerships has been Deputy Mayor Paul Williams, and I would be remiss if I didn't take the opportunity to call him out. Many on the council have had the opportunity to work very closely with Paul and have appreciated his steady hand, advice, counsel, and certainly pushback on city matters. Mayor, you've been served well by Paul, and this gives us a chance to say a heartfelt thank you to Paul for all the hard work over the past several years. And Paul is just one example of the great success the city has because of the wonderful people who work so hard to make it a great place. We're also excited for the future of St. Paul as we continue to move forward. We do so with stability and an eye towards tomorrow. Through our Right Track program, we have partnered with the private sector to shape the future of our youth workforce and truly the future of St. Paul. And I couldn't be more excited to say with the Green Line opening in 10 weeks, we are heralding a new age of sustainable transportation to our thriving downtown and other neighborhoods along the line. Every day, each one of us, local business owners, community organizations, government leaders, our school and education officials, and more, contributes to make this city a better, beautiful, and more accessible place. St. Paul's history is a long litany of people coming together in partnership to get things done. And I want to thank each of you who has been part of this, part of one or even several of these partnerships. And next, I would like to invite you to watch a video with me highlighting St. Paul's past, present, and future.
Hello, my name is Deshaun. I am a junior at Harding High School. I recently had the privilege of interning here at the Excel's Highbridge plant as an office assistant. I got the job through the city's Right Track program. Right Track is one of the mayor's education and employment priorities. In the next few minutes, we will learn more about his vision for St. Paul and meet some of the folks making it happen. I've really enjoyed working with the folks at XL Energy, and my job allowed me the opportunity to learn some valuable skills and still have some fun being a kid. Speaking of fun, the opening day here at the Lowertown Ballpark is just over a year away. That's before you know it, but there's a lot more happening around the capital city, like great restaurants and entertainment combined with new construction downtown.
I guess the things that excite me most about St. Paul has been the increase in housing, the number of people that are living down here, the number of people who are coming down here for entertainment. Those have been really exciting. I could go on and on and on. The new ballpark, there's just so much happening down here right now compared to what was going on 3.5 years ago. If you're interested in investing in St. Paul, now's the time. Do it. It's hot. It's happening.
We are High Roof Specs, and here we are in St. Paul at the Palace Theater, which is awesome since 1997 when we, as teenagers, got together and started to play music. And at that time, there was really no venues in St. Paul that were at all interesting to us. But I mean, I think looking around since what, 2006, 2007, we suddenly started to see tons of awesome music venues pop up, places that have attracted us. We're about to have a release party at a venue downtown St. Paul here, and that's something that definitely would not have happened previously.
Everything that's happening today, the groundwork was laid just a couple of years ago. Whether it's the redo of the Lafayette Bridge, whether it's Central Corridor, the Green Line opening this June, the Lowertown Ballpark under construction opening next year. All of these projects are building to a crescendo, and what we see in downtown St. Paul, what we see in St. Paul leading the region is this level of interest from developers, this level of interest in what does the future hold, building on the opportunity that exists right now.
So many cool things going on in St. Paul, and soon there will be even more ways to get there. Of course, the Green Line opens in just a couple of months, and we're all excited about that. But transportation is more than just connecting St. Paul and Minneapolis. It's projects downtown and in the suburbs which are important to our future.
Mayor Coleman has been and continues to be a leader in ensuring we have a regional and balanced transit system in the metro area. So that means connecting St. Paul, it means connecting the East Metro, the suburbs, and even connecting Western Wisconsin. I've enjoyed working with the East Metro Strong and certainly on Gateway and those projects that will connect the East Metro together into that entire system.
Having a well-balanced multimodal transportation system is a key part to having a successful city, for sure. You need to give people options so they can get around. Well, we're really excited about the bike plan that just came out. This is a robust plan that will address those gaps and bring bike infrastructure to parts of the city that really have very little and really make it easy for families to be able to get into downtown easily by bike and access a lot of the cultural institutions that are here in downtown.
When I'm not pursuing my career with Right Track, I'm earning my diploma here at Harding. As you know, a well-educated community is the key to a city's success.
Our partnerships with the Mayor's Office and the City of St. Paul allows us to offer opportunities to our students that we can't alone as a school district. So about 4 years ago in St. Paul Public Schools, we wanted to know how do we help students get jobs in the summer. Didn't know who to call or where to go, and now 4 years later, we have an integral partnership with the City of St. Paul, and we have about 1,600 applications for youth for this summer for jobs.
All of these great developments don't mean a lot unless we make sure we enjoy them in a sustainable way. We all know about the groundbreaking recycling, composting, and solar energy projects at the XL Energy Center and River Center, but the city has worked with businesses, large and small, to ensure our community grows in a sustainable way.
St. Paul Hotel really wants to be a contributor, not just a bystander. One of the areas we found we could have a real impact is in our compostable program. We prevent about 25 tons a month from going into the landfill. It's been so successful that on our first anniversary we're going to do a dirt day and give away St. Paul Hotel dirt, which is pretty nice dirt. I'm proud to report that we're at a 90% recycling rate, which is unheard of.
Thanks for letting me be a part of this day and listening to my story. Now back to you, Mayor Coleman.
Okay, good luck following that, Mayor. I think we should let him come up and speak. Anyway, it's my pleasure to introduce Mayor Chris Coleman.
I want you to sit down so you have a moment, and then we're going to stand up again and give it up for Deshaun. Deshaun, good job. Thanks, Kathy, for the great introduction, and to all the members of the council for all your hard work and partnership. I greatly appreciate it. And I want to thank Barely Brothers Records, who provided the music this morning. Great sounds. They just opened their vinyl record store on Raymond and University in St. Anthony Park just this last weekend. Thank you so much for being here. Another great store opening up along the Green Line before it even opens. And I do want to take a minute just to thank Deshaun. He's such an impressive young man. I'm truly looking forward to meeting him again as the CEO of his own company after he earns his engineering degree. Thank you for sharing the story of the momentum of the city of St. Paul and being an example of what hard work and perseverance can do for a young man. Congratulations for everything. St. Paul's history is rich. We're a city that's grown from steamboats to railroads to streetcars to light rail. From one-room schoolhouses hosting largely children of German, Irish, and Swedish immigrants to educating 39,000 students who speak more than 100 languages. From a single public library funded by a civic-minded railroad tycoon to 13 libraries used in ways unimaginable in Jim Hill's time. Each step of our history has contributed to where our next foot falls. We embrace our past, but we seize on the momentum of today to build a better tomorrow. We see this progression in Lowertown. Once an industrial engine of St. Paul, it's grown into the vibrant center of our city. Historic buildings once housing manufacturing are now home to artists and others filled with a passion for urban living. New bars and restaurants are filled each night. And soon, the regional ballpark will draw thousands more to downtown on a warm summer evening. By blending our history with new possibilities, we have created a unique community filled with endless possibilities. The renewed enthusiasm for Lowertown is also seen across the city, including here on the east side. The neighbors that gather for a beer or a bite to eat at Ward 6 are a mix of folks. Some whose families have been on the east side for generations, and some who have just discovered the potential of this great historic community. Always a crossroads for diverse cultures, and a portrait of our complex and changing world. In the last several decades, the Payne-Phelan neighborhood has become a hallmark for how we as a city must grow. Our efforts could not be more apparent than here in the Arlington Hills Community Center. When it opens, on May 22nd, and we will have a formal chance to thank all the partners that made this facility possible. It will be a cornerstone of the neighborhood, providing opportunities for our children and families to thrive. The doors to this community center will be doors of opportunity for all who enter, and it will be ground zero for our work to close the achievement gap. Almost a decade in the making, this center is a $14 million investment in the future of the East Side. What was once a corner anchored by a small hardware store and an obsolete 1970s-era rec center will soon be a center of innovative learning and youth development. Collaboration between two city departments, the St. Paul Public Libraries and the parks, is creating new possibilities for serving our residents. Beyond sharing space, the staff will be culturally effective and trained not only in racial equity work, but in new ways to engage youth and expand and design programming around input they receive. I toured this facility last week, and I have to tell you, the excitement of staff is infectious. They couldn't wait to tell me all the creative ways they're coming up with to do things differently. When the doors to the center open in May, it will be truly a game changer for the children and families in this community. And I want to take just a moment to thank Kit Hadley and Mike Hom, the directors of libraries and parks, for their tireless efforts to make this center possible. One way we'll make this project even better is through community input and awareness. Today, St. Paul Public Library launches an awareness campaign with the theme, Because of the Library. The public awareness campaign, inspired by real library users, aims to educate our residents on the diverse uses they can get out of the library, whether that be learning a language, how to use social media, preparing for the SAT, or learning how to write a resume. If you're Twitter savvy, use the hashtag #BecauseOfTheLibrary to promote their cause. This campaign celebrates how St. Paul learns and thrives because of the library. Our library system is one of the best examples of a department that never stops moving. In fact, Google found them so impressive, they created a video about how the St. Paul Public Library saw a need in the community, in this case, teaching new immigrants how to use and navigate a computer, and alter their programming based on what was needed. You can check out this video, and I highly recommend it. It is wonderful. It's called Sharing More Than Books, and you can find it on YouTube. Please go and take a look at it. It's a track record of innovation that gives me great confidence in the future of the Arlington Hills Community Center and of the city of St. Paul. Much of my work the past 8 years has been focused on changing outcomes for children. We know that successful children have always been the key to a successful city. We've built diverse partnerships of committed individuals, community organizations, schools and teachers, businesses and more to just that end, resulting in the continuing work of our Sprockets and Promise Neighborhoods initiatives. But we also know a key part of success is creating opportunities for our children to learn real-world skills and earn real-world wages. We know that youth who have more exposure to the workforce are better prepared and more successful in their careers. Just last week, our state economists predicted that soon there will be more jobs than people that are able to fill them as our current workforce ages and retires. Our mission then becomes even more urgent. Last week, I was at another rec center, Oxford, to witness a job fair for youth summer employment. I was so moved by the hundreds, if not thousands, of young people who showed up to seek a summer job. Since 2004, St. Paul has hired nearly 500 youth per year to work in parks, libraries, and nonprofit organizations. Last year, we launched Right Track, placing high school students with at least 1 year of work experience with real local companies. It provides a pipeline of opportunity that builds skills over several years. In the first year, a child might work at a park or a library. In the second, perhaps that same child will find a summer internship with Ecolab. In the third year, that child might have a capstone summer doing IT work at 3M. While modest in its numbers in the first year, it proved a great success. 95% of the youth completed their internships and as a group brought home more than $50,000 in wages. This year, we're ramping up the program. It's a partnership between the city, Genesis Works, St. Paul Public Schools, the St. Paul Area Chamber of Commerce, and numerous community-based organizations and businesses across St. Paul. Beyond creating opportunities for work experience, Right Track provides career readiness training and coaching, as well as a full summer of authentic work experience in a professional setting. helping us grow the workforce from within. Youth from households with incomes below the poverty level are eligible. This makes the wages they earn particularly meaningful to them and to their families. This has been a partnership between a lot of folks, and I want to recognize U.S. Bank, Ecolab, Allegra Printing, the St. Paul Chamber of Commerce for their leadership, the St. Paul Public Schools for their committed partnership, and the many new business partners who have signed up this summer. Several foundations have also helped, including the POLAD, the Bush, the St. Paul Chamber, the F.R. Bigelow, and the St. Paul Foundations. And they're making it possible for nonprofits and small businesses to also offer professional work experience this summer by partially underwriting these jobs. While we create opportunities for our teens who are on the right track, we can't forget about the ones who have found themselves on unsteady ground. Last summer, my office and the St. Paul Police Department partnered with the YWCA to launch a trial project to reduce youth crime and redirect the lives of our teenagers who need it. We hired skilled, culturally specific youth workers to spend time on the streets during weekends and evenings, where they spoke with youth and made referrals to service organizations and programs. The pilot program ran from July to September, and in those 3 months alone, youth workers spoke to 236 young people. They connected them with educational and social and employment services. The results were phenomenal. In those 3 months, youth arrests for serious crimes fell 43%. Youth arrests for less serious crime fell 37%, and serious crime fell 21% overall. With nearly a $200,000 grant from the state and significant private fundraising underway, we're going to quadruple our efforts this year. We'll expand the program citywide and bring in Neighborhood House, St. Paul Youth Services, 180 Degrees, our Parks and Rec Department, and St. Paul Public Libraries to our partner list. Community ambassadors made up of youth workers will spend time in areas where we see increases in youth crime. They'll do both outreach and intervention, talking to teens and stopping gang affiliations before they start. The city will expand hours at 7 recreation centers across St. Paul, including here at Arlington Hills, where staff will be trained in youth development techniques and engage the youth they serve directly in planning and implementing new programs. We'll create dedicated youth jobs and individual plans for each teen based on their needs. And we'll utilize a case management data system so we know where we are successful and who still needs help. Finally, as we adults work hard to understand the complex needs of our youth, especially our most troubled ones, we want to make sure we hear from youth in their own voices. So we've asked Soul Touch Productions to engage youth from these neighborhoods in creating media that tells us in their words what they see now in their lives and their hopes and aspirations for their futures. I want to thank Soul Touch and Robin Hickman for creating this outlet for the voices of our children to be heard. Thank you. And now that I'm over my anger, I want to personally thank Paul Williams for his work on this initiative. Paul's been an unbelievable leader, not just in this area, but for the entire city of St. Paul. He's been an invaluable asset to my office for these last 3 years. And while I wish him well, you're going to sorely be missed. And since there's no one that can replace Paul, we're going to wing it for the next 3.5 years. Quite frankly, we have a lot going on in St. Paul. We've worked hard to cultivate a vibrant culture where people want to live and businesses want to locate. In every corner of St. Paul, there are telltale signs of a city on the move. The tracks are down, and the Central Corridor Green Line is only 10 weeks away from opening. The Lower Town Ballpark is under construction. We can give it up for the light. And this will be the last speech I give, talking about when light rail opens. The Lower Town Ballpark is under construction. The Penfield is filling with residents. Lund's grocery store opens in 6 weeks. Construction of the Schmidt Artist Lofts, the West Side Flats, the Rayette Lofts, the Pioneer Endicott Project, and more are all underway. Last week, a task force headed by Ecolab's CEO Doug Baker and Greater MSP's head Michael Langley delivered a stunning vision of what is possible for St. Paul. While the ideas generated by the task force were bold, the most exciting thing about it is the conversation it generated. While people might have called such a plan for downtown St. Paul far-fetched just a few short years ago, today they simply ask, how soon can we make this happen? Developers who once scoffed at the idea of building in St. Paul now are scrambling to be a part of our momentum. While many great things have happened in our city recently, we have to keep our foot on the gas. We'll continue to value community input while working hard to eliminate obstacles to development, and we'll aggressively pursue every opportunity to keep the momentum going. A key to maintaining momentum is our continued commitment to the arts. Go to any city in this country with a thriving cultural scene, and you'll be visiting a city with a vibrant economy that is attracting not only millennials, but companies of the future. We've built a great arts and cultural scene in the city of St. Paul, with the Ordway, McNally Smith, the Fitzgerald, Penumbra, Teatro del Pueblo, and more. No one can deny that St. Paul values its arts. Venues such as the Bedlam Theater and the newly redone Park Square, events like Music and Mirrors, Jazz Fest, the Art Crawl, all are part of a rich cultural scene in our city. The recent gift from Ignite of $8 million to support arts and artists in St. Paul will exponentially accelerate all of the cultural activities across our city. When joined by the reopened Palace Theater, we will have, without question, an arts and cultural scene to rival any city in this country. The Palace is a key part to it. The Palace Theater has sat empty for far too many years. Originally built in 1916 as a vaudeville house, it will conservatively host 60 to 90 shows a year, bringing hundreds of thousands of new people into downtown on a regular basis when it reopens, boosting restaurants, bars, nightlife, and activity downtown. But this isn't just about having great concerts in a historic venue, although that will be really cool. It's about economic vitality. If you want to create jobs, create the kind of community where companies want to grow. Build the communities that attract the talented workers for that those companies need. In numerous conversations with business owners about where they want to locate, I've been repeatedly told that their employees are looking for places where there's great transportation, housing convenient to work, and great places to go after work. That's what we're creating in St. Paul. Whether the Palace or the Amsterdam, the Ordway or the Bedlam, these places create vibrancy in our city that makes the vision released by last week's task force a reality. I'm very thankful for the support of the governor for the Palace project, as well as the leadership of our legislative delegation. All the businesses and community members that have come to support it, and understand the key role that the Palace Theater will provide for our city. I am thrilled with the momentum that this project represents for our city. I am thrilled about the progress that our city is making, but I continue to be troubled by the challenges that far too many of our residents face on a daily basis. As we move the city forward, we should always be mindful to consider the needs of the most vulnerable members of our community. We need to create a city that works for all. That is why building an effective way to end homelessness in our city is among our most important work. On any given night across the U.S., more than 50,000 men and women who served our country and protected our freedoms find themselves without a home. It is nothing short of shameful. At the end of 2013, Phoenix became the first American city to end veteran homelessness in their community. Salt Lake City followed shortly after. In January, I partnered with Minneapolis Mayor Betsy Hodges in an effort to end homelessness in the Twin Cities in 2015. I want Minneapolis and St. Paul to be the next community in the country to make sure no one who has served their country have to sleep on the streets of their city. A critical element to solving veterans' homelessness is rebuilding the Dorothy Day Center. In December, we unveiled a revision of the Dorothy Day Center that includes building 2 new facilities. One is patterned after Higher Ground Academy in Minneapolis and will offer overnight shelter to those who have no place else to go. Instead of mats on the ground, people will be offered bunks where they can have some privacy, store their belongings, and sleep comfortably for the night. On the floor just above the shelter will be pay-for-stay bunks, where people can secure a spot and store their belongings for a week at a time for $7 a night. That money will be saved for them as they can use for a damage deposit if they and when they find a place to live. 3 floors above that will include various kinds of permanent housing designed especially for those who have difficulty living away from the support of a shelter environment. People who arrive at the shelter will literally see a better future for themselves just upstairs. A second building, the Connection Center, will offer clients the tools necessary to move beyond homelessness: meals, job training and job opportunities, health care, and more. Our intent is not just to offer a safe place to sleep, but a strategy to move beyond homelessness. While we continue to build on the energy in our neighborhoods and our downtown, we must make sure we're creating a city worthy of being named after a saint. 3 weeks ago, I was on the Google campus, driving a driverless car. The experience was both terrifying and eye-opening. Technology is changing so much in our lives. The ways and speed at which we communicate, how we view our homes, our businesses, and our streets. It's changing very rapidly. Our transportation system must be capable of rapid change as well. As I noted, 10 weeks from now, the first passenger train on the Green Line will roll out of the Union Depot. That will be a great day for the city of St. Paul. But the advent of light rail cannot be the end of our transit discussions. It must be the precipice from which we launch continuing efforts across the East Metro. Having connected to Minneapolis and the West Metro through the Green Line, we must now push forward on other critical connections: the Gateway Line east to the St. Croix River Bridge, Riverview to the airport, the Mall of America, Robert Street to the south into Dakota County, Red Rock to the southeast to Hastings, and Rush Line to the north. Some of them will likely be bus rapid transit, others will be streetcar or LRT, others may be a combination. While the federally prescribed process for evaluating the best option for each of these lines is long and arduous, we're making good progress. And the excitement around the Green Line opening is proof positive that it's all worth it. If we're going to continue to pursue our transit goals, the East Metro must be united in partnership. Last year, we launched East Metro Strong, an organization made up of local governments, chambers of commerce, community groups, and developers from Ramsey, Washington, and Dakota counties to work as a team and create a transit-competitive region. Together, we'll look at the tools necessary to facilitate transit investment in the East Metro. Some cities will need to adopt land use plans that will allow for growth around potential transit corridors. And as a region, we'll advocate to make sure that the East Metro receives its fair share of transit investment in the metropolitan area. And I look forward to working with all the communities in the East Metro to get this done. Another critical part of the future of transit is biking. If you were out yesterday, you saw how desirous we are to be out biking. More and more people are depending on alternatives to cars. Bikeways are as important to them as my first set of car keys were to me. At the beginning of the year, we released an ambitious bikeways plan for the future of St. Paul. The plan included proposals to double our bicycling network to 358 miles, complete the Grand Round Loop to provide a path around the city, and construct a 1.7-mile loop through downtown that would connect Lower Town and the ballpark and Union Depot to the Science Museum, XL Energy Center, and the Children's Museum. The loop would also connect to the great regional trails like the Gateway, Bruce Vento, and the Sam Morgan trails. Our efforts can't be just to be bike-friendly. We must be as innovative and forward-thinking as our bike riders, who want both to have a way to experience St. Paul's scenery as well as an effective trail to get to work, to shop, or to go to the parks. Unfortunately, I can't talk about transit this year without mentioning the P word, potholes. It's not news to any of us. This year's winter has been unprecedented. And I want to take a moment just to thank Rich Lawyer and his incredible staff at the Public Works Department for their Herculean efforts against all Mother Nature had to offer. This harsh winter, an extended freeze-thaw cycle, has left potholes everywhere, often reopening holes that we've already filled, and our public works crews are working day in and day out to fill them again. St. Paul is an older city, and in many places our street infrastructure is just as old. It's clear that some streets are beyond the point where even normal winters don't render them obstacle courses. In the short term, I've directed Public Works to call back laid-off street service workers and concentrate these resources on our immediate pothole issues. But in the coming months, I'll be working with the Public Works Department, the City Council, the Office of Financial Services, and others to identify additional resources to reconstruct priority streets. We need long-term solutions to tackle the overwhelming needs of our deteriorating infrastructure. Reconstructing the worst streets in St. Paul, I call them the terrible 20, would cost us more than $70 million. When the state and the federal government does not keep pace with its cities, our infrastructure suffers first. This winter made it clear. We're long overdue for a comprehensive transportation bill, either from the state legislature or the United States Congress. The added benefit is that this won't just maintain our infrastructure, but it will create jobs in a still challenging economy. We measure the success of our cities in many ways. How well our children are doing, how healthy our local businesses and economies are, the resources available to the least among us, the vitality of our downtowns, or the strengths of our neighborhood. But there is a crucial factor that is largely invisible: how we are using the limited resources around us and what we are doing to preserve them. St. Paul's commitment to sustainability reaches back 25 years, when the city implemented what was at the time groundbreaking recycling programs. But while the times changed, the recycling program did not. So last year I announced a revitalization to St. Paul's recycling program, crafted from a comprehensive survey of St. Paul's residents by the Wilder Research. 1 week from today, some of its main recommendations will go into effect. Not only will we expand plastics recycling, adding plastics number 4, 5, and 7 to the number 1s and 2s we've been recycling, we'll switch to a single-sort system, eliminating the hassle of separating all your recyclables. All paper and plastic containers, bottles, and cans will be able to go into one bin. But we're not stopping there. We've heard your feedback, and we're building on it. Next spring, we'll transition to larger covered wheeled carts and move pickup our recycling materials from front yard to the alley. St. Paul has led on recycling in the past. With these changes, it will be a leader again. When I think of the work that we do day in and day out, the huge projects that we take years to complete, and the small ones that nevertheless make a big impact on a neighborhood, I think about people like Deshaun. What kind of educational opportunities has he had? What about his out-of-school time? When he earns that engineering degree and opens up his own business in St. Paul, I'm sure I ask the question, will he find it easy to recruit a talented workforce? One that is attracted to the vibrancy of our community? What forms of transportation will his employees take to work? How many of the buildings he visits each day will be built using sustainable strategies? And perhaps the most important question of all, what opportunities will his children have? Many of our projects are long-term, and often those who begin them don't get to see the work finished. But we do this work not for instant gratification or recognition, but to create a better place for the future of those in our city. Whether a city planner, a street maintenance worker, librarian, city engineer, or a parks worker, the people who work for the City of St. Paul work hard to improve the city for this and future generations. And it's paying off. 1 week from today, we'll introduce our expanded recycling program and soon a single-sort recycling system. 6 weeks from today, Lunds will be ringing up customers in downtown. 10 weeks from today, the Green Line will open and be running. The momentum in St. Paul is real, but now it's time to really get moving. Let's hit the gas and continue to build this wonderful city well into the future. Thank you very much.